Hi, Carl here for ProAV TV. I'm at IBC 2017 talking to Paul on the Canon stand about Canon's new camcorders. So that's the XF400, XF405, XA11 and XA15. Okay, so Paul, what do we got here?
So this is the new XF405, one of the cameras that we've released this month. Just announced this one on the 12th, in fact. So this is a camera that's designed really for documentary maker, the jobbing videographer that needs a step up from the full HD only option of the XF205, for instance, but needs the 4K output. And with that in mind, we've provided this with two versions or two options for recording in 4K. One is both MP4 at the moment, one at 150 megs per second, and another at 35 megs per second.
Okay, so there's that really low bit rate if you want it for
and that'll be down
long
to the full
storage
HD
times.
version as well, so we can do that in full HD. Now, the reasoning behind this is, if you think about at the moment how we watch 4K. Now, obviously, we're both UK based. Netflix is broadcasted in 4K. And they have a very strict policy, as do Amazon, but not quite so strict, I believe, that they must have 4K material delivered to them. The other option is to watch it as an MP4. So what we can do is we can offer that high bit rate of 150 megs per second. There's a lot of data going into this, but we can record on SD cards. When you look at the other options that we have for recording 4K using XF AVC, such as the C300 Mark II and new C200, you obviously have a much higher data rate because you have a lot more information, but then you need the CFast 2 cards. So you're able to record 4K in with high quality optics to give a high quality visual output, but still recording on, albeit U3 style or class SD cards, but a much more affordable card.
Is it the same data rate as the C200 in the lower MP4
yes,
recording?
it is. Yeah, so the C200 will do 150 megs per second in MP4 as well.
So you're getting very high quality because those 8-bit files on the C200 are lovely.
And we've seen before with cameras that are 420 8-bit. And one of my favourite quotes of the old C300, which was 422 8-bit, granted, but how do you make an 8-bit colour space image look so good? That's just down to the processor and, as they say, Canon magic. But it's giving you a high quality image that's usable. Now, for those who want an output, we can also do a 422 10-bit full HD on the 405 via an SDI cable.
In 4K?
Not in 4K, in full
Internet.
HD. If we want to do an output in 4K, then it's still 420 8-bit, and that's via HDMI only.
So you mentioned a little bit about the two types of online delivery, Netflix and then online, so YouTube, Vimeo, that sort of thing.
Vimeo,
is that who this is mainly aimed for?
I think they'll be used a lot by these guys as well. You've got a 15 times optical zoom on here, which is a good range. Plus, for those shots that you sometimes need to get without actually venturing into sort of danger areas, things like that, we've got the option of the electronic zoom as well. And we can put sort of screw-on converters for wide and telly as well. So it's a very adaptable piece, potentially being used for online journalism as well. Again, we're going to have the capability to do file transfer. We've already announced that we're intending to have a live stream capability as well. That'll be a full HD live stream at the moment. Hopefully, our colleagues in Japan will work on something for a 4K live stream out as well. But this is going to allow a really quick transfer of information back to, say, a newsroom. And now you have 24-hour rolling news. Obviously, the priority is get that image onto the screen as quick as possible.
Fast as possible, in highest quality possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'll be a lower data rate. And like other cameras that we have that have this facility, they'll share the same time code. So when the bigger file comes back through other means, either through a cloud server, satellite, or a longer internet connection, they'll be able to use the original smaller size files as a proxy and then edit together that as well. But they've got an immediate broadcast if they want it.
Yeah, they can start editing straight
absolutely.
away.
And the other guys then are going to be like the independent filmmakers, film students who
weddings.
want the 4K. Yeah, weddings. There's more of a demand coming in for people who want their wedding recorded in 4K, so this will be able to
Now we should probably talk about autofocus for a little bit, because that was the one thing about this that got me really excited. Because 1-inch camcorders have a bit of a reputation for being quite slow in terms of autofocus.
This camera, however, is the first one of our range to feature the dual pixel Cmos AF, which previously in the video world you've only seen on the Cinema EOS cameras.
Yeah, C200, C300 Mark II.
Exactly. And this is the same kind of flavour of dual pixel AF. as you'll find on those cameras. So it has 80% of the sensor is capable of focusing with this.
And it's touchscreen control.
Touchscreen control, so you can select your focus point within that area. You can track, you can have face focus, face priority, face only, and you can have two different faces or two different zones selected. So if I need to do a pull focus in manual, we also incorporate the focus assist feature. So that's on
the
there
triangles
as well.
lining
the triangles
up.
and the little green squares. And again, we've got that on this as well. So this is a real boom.
And one thing that I really liked from that, because I was hoping it would have all the controls of the C200 and everything like that, and it does, which is fantastic. But then I was also hoping that there was an option for just to take that out, so that I don't want to control it. I just want to switch the autofocus button on, and it just decides what's in focus. And there is, which I was really pleased to see.
There is, and the nice thing is, again, it's controllable. So one of the things that you find broadcast cinema industry, the sort of the higher end guys, they're quite ambivalent towards the whole concept of autofocus. They like to do it, but they're learning that actually that focus system is one that is not only is it usable, but you can trust it. And the nice thing is that you can control the sensitivity, you can control the speed and the response.
I use it on every single one of my videos, really back and base.
It's an incredible system, it really is. But there are times when it'll need to resort back to contrast AF in certain lighting conditions, but that's going to be true for any of the cameras.
And the nice thing about this camera with that sort of full auto and the autofocus and stuff like that is that if you're handing your camera off to somebody who isn't a camera guy, who has no experience in operating cameras whatsoever, this is perfect for that.
And that really comes into one of the other products that we've launched this week, which is the XA11, XA15. And that is really aimed at the guys who want that sort of professional standard of camera, but may not necessarily have the really big budgets. So things like emerging markets, developing countries, that don't need 4K. They're still outputted in standard definition. They're capturing in full HD for SD output. They need a camera that's easy to use. It's relatively cheap, but still with good optics, professional audio. So it's a very, very focused camera, the XA11, XA15. Uses the best bits of the XA35 and the XA10. Again, touch screen, AVC HD or MP4. So two nice robust codecs that you can edit in just about anything. So I mean, it's a nice little handy, compact little camera that won't just be of interest to the emerging markets and developing industries, if you like, but also for the lower end guys who want that professional step, if you like, and especially things like the professional audio.
Or if they need it to be small, because I mean, this is a tiny camera. Those ones are much smaller. Yeah,
I mean, if the XA10 was massively popular, I mean, for a small little camera, and rightly so. But I said we've developed it. We've got the same sensor in there as the XA35. So it's gone from a 1/3 inch to the 0.84 inch type chip. And again, with some of the features from that, the 20 times zoom lens, the dynamic image stabilization, which this camera also shares, intelligent image stabilization as well. So it's very much a single user camera.
Okay, great. Thanks for your time.
No problem. Nice to see you again.